So
Okay.
if I had not joined that internship, I
Yeah.
probably would have given up.
You
I
know.
probably wouldn't have known how far I'd come
Yeah.
just because I joined that internship. So while it is good for you to learn in isolation, like once in a while, or mingle with people, so because it is only when you mingle with people you truly would be able to tell where you are, if you've gone far or if you're still lacking behind. And me thinking I was lacking behind, not knowing that I was doing very well until I
Yeah.
joined the internship.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learn With Me series. So, this is episode 2 of the Learn With Me series. And here with me, I have someone that has been like a mentor to me, right? We've had great discussions over the years. And here with me, I have Shadrach Abba, or known as Shady Coda. Yes, so Shadrach, it's nice to have you here with me.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes, yes, yes. So thank you. We've I believe it's been like a long we've come in like a long way over the years. Like I think we met at Side Ozu. So
Yeah.
yes. So Side Ozu, can you give context of what Side Ozu was?
Oh, okay. So side also was an internship where we were training people that were trying to get started in the tech industry. And inside also, I happened to be one of the front end mentors where I taught HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, thank you. So this was around 2020, and at that time, me, I was just figuring things out. So I believe I was trying to learn as much as I could, jumping from this class, taking online, and I stumbled on side also where Shadrach was able to like guide me on some things to learn one or two things. Yes, so but like before we go further, do you mind like introducing yourself, like what you do currently? I would like to know more, and I'm sure everyone would also like to learn more of what you do currently. Like where are you at currently before we go backwards to like the old days? Yes.
So currently, I currently work as a mobile engineer with
Okay.
an health tech company based in the UK.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so that's what I do currently. But I think my first company I worked as a desktop engineer using Electron.js, and then I went back to web again, worked on web, did some backend, worked with Node.js, and then now I'm on mobile. Even though backend is what I really want to focus on, but
Okay.
whatever pays the bills is what. So right now, React Native is what is paying the bills. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm still working as a mobile dev.
Yes, so that's interesting because it's true, like it's what pays the bills that at the end of the day we all are working to like earn and also be able to like do one or two things. Yes, so I got to know you when I was in the journey of like learning and figuring things out. Right. I would like you to share your story of like how you also got started, right? Right. So do you mind sharing your story? Like I'm sure you it's not as if you woke up one day and all the skills,
No, no,
all
no,
the
no.
skills came to you. So, like, please touch on like your background a little bit, like how you got started and got to a point where you felt comfortable mentoring others. Because mentoring is a big deal. Like I've seen, like yes, you are mentoring others, so it's a big deal. And that was 2020, where COVID and literally thousands of people like myself were at home, even though school was still on, everything was like online. So, like, how did you get to that point? I'm assuming that maybe been, if you started mentoring 2020, maybe you had like 4 years experience. I don't know.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yes, please
Ah,
touch on that.
So when as a then I don't have any commercial experience.
Okay.
So I'd not worked with any company as a developer before.
Okay.
So, but then I knew I was solid because I did HNG and from my
Okay.
contributions in HNG and the things I saw myself doing HNG, I was like, oh, I never knew I'd gotten to this level because before HNG, I'd been learning
Yeah.
in isolation just by myself. I had no idea
Okay.
how far I'd gone until the internship, the HNG internship. So, a little bit about my background. I started learning how to code in 2016, but I stopped. So, I stopped. I stopped halfway because I was in school then studying political science and then learning how to code. So it wasn't really going very well. Plus, I had a 40 system, so I just paused and then I picked it up back again 2019 when I got a new system and then I was already in my 400 level then. So
Okay.
and all I was doing then was just my final year project. So I was like, okay, this is another opportunity to pick this up again. So I picked it up,
Yeah.
learned HTML again from the beginning. Okay, first off, I took a crash course on YouTube. Then
Okay.
I took different Udemy courses on HTML, CSS, and even advanced CSS courses. Then I went to JavaScript, and while I was learning JavaScript, I spent like almost a year, if not more than a year, learning JavaScript alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this is not my background. So back to, did I just wake up one morning and then just no, I did not just wake up. And in fact,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm even a lot of people used to ask me that I studied. If I learned how to
It's,
code before going into the
yes.
university, why did I not study computer science? So I was like,
Exactly.
because I was an art student, yeah, so I
Okay.
could not study computer science. And then I started my computer career. Like, so I used to be this kid that, right from a kid, I was tech savvy, not like knowing programming or how to operate a computer, but
Yeah.
with phones. Whenever my aunties they come around and then they want to fix maybe a settings or set their ringtone or do something on their phone, I'm the guy they
Yeah.
call and say, "Yo, come on!" And nobody taught me all of these things. So
Yes.
then it was just curiosity because if I'm pressing my auntie's phone and then I go to one place settings, I make sure I click every single menu on that setting, make sure I understand what each of them are doing. So that
I'm
way,
doing.
whenever they tell me I need this, I'm like, oh, okay. When I was exploring, I noticed something like this.
It's
I should be able
totally
to do it
true.
from there. Yeah. So, and then at that time, there were a lot of cyber cafes in my area, and then
Okay.
all they were just doing was just typing exam questions for schools and printing. And I was like, okay, if my dad should buy me a laptop now, what will I be doing with my laptop? And then I was like, okay, the best I could see everybody that they were doing was learning how to type on Microsoft Word and then designing some presentations with Microsoft for PowerPoint. Yeah, and like, no, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I want to do something a little bit more. And I asked myself, okay, what is that thing that is a little bit more that not everybody is doing? I saw graphic design was coming to mind. I said, no, I don't. I want to do something beyond graphic design. And I was like, okay, you can operate like phones, and I'm like, okay, there are websites now. Those websites, people built them.
Yes.
So, and the people that built them, they learned it from somewhere. How can I learn how to build those? It's just my own curiosity. Oh. Nobody sat me down and said that, you, there's this
Wow.
web design or I found this somewhere. It was just, I was like, I want to learn how to do this thing. And then I told my dad, I started making inquiries myself. So I went to one cyber cafe like that. I said, me, I want to learn graphic. I said, I want to learn graphics and web design.
Okay.
The guy was like, "Do I know how to operate a computer?" I said no. He said that I should come and enroll for his desktop publishing class first. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I said, what will I learn there? He said, he will teach me how to operate system, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, CorelDRAW. I'm like, okay, once I'm done with this one, I'll do a design hobby. He said, yes. So yeah, now I enrolled, and then, me, I did not know anything that time now. I just enrolled, and then it taught me down, and we
Yeah.
got to CorelDRAW. I'm like, bro, so now we're going to start web design now. It wasn't until later I now realized that the guy doesn't know. He just wanted me to enroll for that particular course.
Yeah.
So when I was done, when I think I was in SS2 at this time. So when I finished, I was in SS2. I was out of school. We had some financial issues, so I kind of like
Okay.
dropped out in SS2 and focused on learning all of this stuff. Then when I
Yeah.
went back to school, my school now created this compulsory computer institution that before you graduate out of SS3, you must pass through that school. And what they were teaching were strictly practicals. Everything they were teaching, I had already learned them during that time.
Okay.
I was not in school. So, and we were just two guys that we were the best in that computer institution. And both of us happened to be in the arts department. So both of us happened to be in the arts department. And then
Okay.
yeah, so I think that is where my tech career started from. And I did graphics for a while because I was so good at graphics, and the Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, they were boring to me. So graphics was the only
Yeah.
thing that I found fun in at the time because I could not code at that time, and I could not find anybody or any school to teach me how to do it because of the
Okay.
area where I was staying then. And then when I was done with school, I left my area, went to look for a school that would teach me how to code. This was in 2016. All of these things happened between, I think, 20, 2014, 2016. Yes. I think 2014 was when I did the desktop publishing and the graphic stuff. In
Yeah.
2016, after school, was when uh, was when um, was when I started looking for a school to teach me how to code, and then I found one because I remember that one of the teachers in the computer institution in my secondary school then recommended a school. So I went to
Okay.
that school, I made the inquiries, and I applied, I enrolled, and we started learning. Then we're using Dreamweaver. They did not teach us how to code. The first website I built, I
Yes.
created the layout using a table.
Wow.
So like the nav bar was table head. The hero session was another table. I was like, it was not responsive, but it was really cool then because I was like, oh yeah, I did this. And
At least you were able to create something.
yeah, I was able to create something. And I was happy when
Yes.
I did it though. So, but that experience, the experience I had with that particular school, made me not be a fan of computer institution because if anybody comes to me, this is now a personal stuff, comes to me and tell me, should I learn online or enroll in a physical school? I already have a bias because of my own personal experience, so I'll just tell you, um, get an online course instead of enrolling in a physical school. So, but I don't want to go deep into why.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was how I started my journey anyway, and then it's been really long, and then so there was a time I was learning CSS, I spent a very long time on CSS as well because I took what's his name? Brad Traverses. I took his
Yes.
Udemy course, and then when I was done, so how I was learning was Brad divided his course, the CSS session, into three different. He built three different projects where he
Okay.
used Float. I don't know if you know
Okay.
Float.
I
So
know.
he
I know.
used he used Float to build a project. So
Yeah.
when I learned that, I built my own project using Float, and then
Okay.
we went to CSS Flexbox, built another project using CSS Flexbox. Then I built my own personal project again.
Okay.
Then we
Okay.
did CSS Grid. Then I built my own
Okay.
personal project again. And
Okay.
then um, and then I took another CSS course by Jonas. Jonas
Okay.
had one advanced SCSS course. So I took
Okay.
that course. That was where I learned CSS animations, how to code your own animations from scratch using keyframes and all of
Yeah.
this stuff. And and then now I think it was in that course I first learned about CSS variables, knowing how to use CSS variables and some modern CSS properties. So, and these were the things that helped me because me, I was just taking courses, I was learning, and as I was learning, I was building projects. I built my first portfolio website without having any project. So I was like, I don't need to have a project to display on my portfolio website. My portfolio website itself is evidence that I can build. Do you get? So it's a project on its own. So I built that, posted it on Twitter, and then somebody commented that, "Are you sure this is your first website?" I'm like, "Is it that good?" So I was like, "Okay." So I think at that point, I started thinking that it was time for me to move on to JavaScript, and then
Okay.
I learned JavaScript. I took different courses on JavaScript. I could not get it. I took one course by one Indian guy like that. It was entering my head. I was like, oh, finally, this JavaScript is entering my head. But yeah, now let me go. Me, I'm somebody that when I learn something, I want to test it out and see if I can actually use what I've learned.
Use it.
So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
let me go and test myself now. I built a website that has a form
Yeah.
that has a form that users could enter different amounts, and then you just have to do some calculations and then return. So, but the form had radio button, check boxes, and I could get the value from the normal form inputs. But you got to the radio button part, I could not get the value. And I was like, what is going on? Is it not the same way? And I could not get it done. I got frustrated. I reached out to my mentor, and then it was like, let's jump on a call so that I could share my screen and then give him access to my screen so he would help me do it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I was going to do that. But after the call, I was like, if I get a job, is this how I'll be calling him all the time to come and be helping me? No, I need to be able to do this thing myself. I want to get
Yes.
to that point where I don't have to be calling him. And then even if I call him, he doesn't have to I don't have to give him control over my screen. All he just has to do is, oh yeah, go do this, do this, do this, and then I'm like, oh, okay, 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 let me do it. Yes, he get. So I got really frustrated. I was like, how what will I do? Because I'm taking different courses. I even read this book called JavaScript for Dummies.
Yeah.
The JavaScript student enter. I read JavaScript for Dummies is not enter my. So at that time, I was going to give up. I was like, you know what? Maybe programming wasn't for me. And then I was just scrolling on Twitter, and then I saw somebody telling another person to
Okay.
apply for the HNG internship. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, what is HNG internship? So I read a little bit about HNG internship, and then I saw that they had this kind of program that is like Big Brother, but
Okay.
the tech kind of Big Brother, but remotely, where There are different stages. The harder you go, the tougher the tax you get in each stages. And then if you're not able to get to the next stage, you'll be evicted out of the program. That's the reason
Yeah.
why I said it's like Big Brother. So
I
I
heard
went.
about
So I was like, okay, what's the worst thing that is going to happen? If I'm not good enough, now the worst thing is that we evict me in stage one. Nobody will beat me. So let me go and enroll. And then I enrolled, and that was the place where I had my first encounter with technical writing as well.
okay.
So in stage one, we're given a task. In stage one, we're given a task. I think to create a README file on GitHub. So I did it. I had experience because before HNG, me and my mentor now, I would
Yeah.
create something. So in order for him to review, I had to push to GitHub so that he can review. But
Yeah.
then my GitHub was not very solid because all those Git commits, Git ads, those things were still
Yeah.
confusing me. I don't know what order. So I wrote it down in my book. Anything I want to do, I'll go and check which one is the first step. Is it Git add? Okay, I'll do Git add, Git commit, Git push like that.
Yes.
So then they gave us that task. I was like, oh, lucky me. So I did it. Then stage two, our task was to write an article on how we were able to solve the task we
The
submitted in
problem.
stage one. And then when I got to stage two, some people were still in stage one trying to figure out how to get their task done. And I'm like, okay, this tax is simple. Like there are no different ways of pushing your stuff to GitHub. So if we're going to be
Yeah.
writing an article on how we're able, everybody is going to probably write the same article. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to make sure my article is not the same with what everybody else is writing? And I could not figure it out because and we had deadlines. We had 1 week deadline. I was thinking that
Okay.
what could I do? What can I write that would make my article stand out, even though providing the same solution every other person is probably providing in their own article as well. And so I was scrolling on our Slack workspace, and then I saw that a lot of people had issues with some people pushed to GitHub, they pushed
Okay.
the wrong file to GitHub and they needed to delete and then push the right file. Like, okay. Now send something to write. And then I saw that some people were having issues editing their README file after pushing because we were told
Okay.
to write our name, some things. So they could not edit. So okay, I was like, okay, I've seen two problems that people are having. So I now wrote my own article addressing those problems, providing
Okay.
solutions to those stuff. And then I submitted my article. Me submitting my article was not the interesting part. The interesting part was that these people that found my article helpful reached out to me in the DM and they were thanking me. They were calling me sir. They were like, thank you, sir. Your article really helped. I was like, yo, I'm your fellow intern. Why are you calling me sir? So it was at that point, like, there was this
Yes.
feeling I had that so some people could find so much value
In
in
what you
my
have.
article, in something I
Yes.
did, that they could come find me and then reach out to me and then thank me, appreciate me. I was like there's this feeling I just got. Like, I was like, oh, what? After this internship, I think I want to explore this because the
Okay.
internship was so intense, was very, very intense that you could
Okay.
not do anything. If you cannot even combine work with that kind of internship. That's how hectic that internship was. So yeah, I passed that stage. Stage three, we were given a task now to code. And what did we even code in stage three? I forgot. I don't know. I think we were given I think it was an hotel template. So my team, I were we were shared in different teams, and then each team had sub teams. So I happened to be leading one of the sub teams. And then my sub team, this thing still used to bust my. We built 5 hotel templates in 2 days.
Ah,
In
and you
two
guys
days.
didn't have like a designer that was designing, or you guys were
Yeah,
just coming
yeah,
up
yeah.
with
There was a designer. So yes, that internship also is the first place where I learned how to work. Because before that internship, in my head, I had no idea that they were UI UX designer because I was coming from the person that mentored me, you know,
yes.
is you came from this background where you as a website designer, you come up with the design by yourself.
Okay.
So that was the same experience. That was the same experience that was passed on to me. So coming there and then I saw that I don't really need to think about design. Yeah, designers,
Yes.
and that was the first time I worked with Figma as well. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they've made this thing really really easy. And at the same time, it does two things because you coming from a background where you are independent. Yes, let me use that word, independent. You
Yes.
can work on you don't need to depend on any designer to build your project. And then going to a place where you now say that you don't need to be stressing yourself now. You can just get a designer. So it has advantage and disadvantage. The advantage
Yes.
is you can work alone without a designer. The disadvantage is when you work so much with a designer, you become lazy and you no longer want to go back to that life where you have to start creating designs yourself. And
True. True.
now, how does it affect your career in the long run? If you're trying to become, let's say, most of the time, everybody after learning, you probably get your first full-time job, you probably are going to be doing freelance. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then because you don't have so much experience, you're not going to your first freelance job is not going to be $1,000, except if you are lucky. It's probably going
Yes.
to be like maybe 50K or maybe 100K. Do you get my own first freelance? My first freelance job was how much? I got paid 10K.
Thank
So
you.
after,
Wow.
yes, thank you. Now I got paid 10K, and then the second one, okay, that 10K job that I got paid, there's a story behind it too. So, okay, it was at the time when I picked up HTML again that gig came in, just a normal simple form. On the form I
Okay.
did was very, very ugly. The client rejected the job, but the person that brought me on board paid me 10K. He said for my time,
Oh,
and then he
time.
did the job himself and then sent the code base to me to study. And then I was like,
Oh,
you know what? I want to be like this guy. So like I want to get to that point where whenever I give people job and then even if they don't perform very well, I should still be
yes.
able to pay them and say, you know what, for your time, thank you for your time,
Yes.
even though the job was not accepted. And so yeah, that experience really inspired me that I'd like to be like this guy in this particular way. So so back to my story.
Okay. Go on.
So I was talking about the advantage and disadvantage here. So your first job you're going to get is probably going to be a freelance gig that is not going to pay you much. So and then if
Yeah.
you're somebody that depends so much on a UI UX designer, how much do you want to pay
Okay.
a UI UX designer out of a job of maybe 100K?
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm coming
I
from?
get.
So because you're not, so it is not a matter of whether you're being selfish and you want to keep all the money for yourself. It's just because you know the value of these UI UX designers that you cannot afford to pay them peanuts. And then because you're just
Yes.
coming up, you just need to find a way to get all of these things done yourself until you get to the point where you can afford them. Do you
Yeah.
get? And then because you cannot afford them, does not mean that you need to do a shitty job. No, you're not allowed to do it. So even you need to work on your. I don't know. Maybe because I started with graphics anyway. But that was the
Yeah.
mentality I had. That okay, I know there are times and seasons, and right now this is where I am. I cannot afford
Okay.
to pay a designer to work on a project with me. And then I've not gotten to that point yet where I can start charging clients so much that I
Much.
can afford a designer.
Yes.
So I understood where I was and where I was going to. I knew I was not there yet. So I needed to
Yes.
put myself in my place and then work with the resources I could gather at that time. So that is
Yes.
why when some people on some tech communities, you see some people saying, I have a client and I have a client that wants to build an e-commerce website. I don't know how much to charge this client. And then some people will
Yes.
say charge 300K. Another person say, don't charge 300K, charge 2 million. And in my head, I understand everybody's points. I understand
Yeah.
because everybody that are giving their opinion, they are coming from different perspectives and their experiences are different. Different in the sense that all of them are no longer on the same level. Do you get? And then
Yeah.
you need to understand that this person that is saying charge 2 million, he has the portfolio, the experience to back that
Okay.
is 2 million naira that is charging. Do you have that
Yes.
confidence and the experience and the portfolio to charge that much? No, you don't.
Yes.
And you know that before he got to this point, he also did some free
Yes.
jobs, charge 100K. It was all of this portfolio that he gathered. And the process
Yeah.
of working on this portfolio that built his confidence so much.
Yes.
You don't have any of those things. So you need to know, like, you first of all need to understand where you are. And then, so once
Yes.
the moment you understand where you are, you would be able to filter out whatever advice or suggestions people are throwing at you.
Yes.
Do you get?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I get.
yeah, that's the advantage and disadvantage. So it's good to rely on product designers. If you're just starting out, everybody is looking for money. You cannot collect job of 100K and say you want to pay designers 70K. You not keep 30K for
Ah,
yourself,
money
and you
has
still
finished.
and you will still host website. You instead of 30K, you host website. So no, you cannot do that. So you just need to find a way. And would you now? Let me even now ask you, Jome, this question: if you're in that kind of shoe, you're just coming up,
Mhm.
and then you collected that kind of job, would you reject the job because the amount they are paying you is too small and then you cannot afford to hire a designer to work with you? How would you manage that situation?
So definitely, no, I would not reject the job. Like, so we both have similar and like different like background. Similar in the sense that I also started from graphics. So I started from graphics before I got into like coding and all. But for to answer the question, I don't even think I'll be able to afford a designer. Or if I'm to afford a designer, not a professional designer, maybe someone that I know that is also learning. I'll just say, hey, there's a job, oh, maybe we can work on it together. Right? So um that's one idea. Like get someone that is maybe your friend that is in the design space, or last, you do everything yourself, right? But I understand that in like building like a website like for your clients, they expect it to be professional, and then you must not fall short of that like professionalism. Yes. So yeah, Shady, I don't even know if I should say Shady or Shadrach. Which one do you prefer?
Anyone is fine.
Okay, let me use your real name. Let me say Shadrach then. Yeah, so Shadrach, you've given us a background of like how you got started and even how you got into like this mentorship culture. And from what you've said so far now, I think that mentorship like brain that you have just kicked in and you kept giving advice. Yes, so it's good. But like I like let's give a shout out to like those mentors that we all had. Like since you're my guest, like if you feel free if you feel like it's necessary, you can give a shout out to like them, like maybe mention their name and say, hey, I praise you, or I like what you did for me or something like that.
So I have two mentors, even though one of
Yeah.
them
Okay.
doesn't know he's my mentor. It's
Oh,
just my mentor
yeah,
from afar. So
yeah.
I learned by observing his work.
His work.
For
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I refer to him as my mentor from afar. Then the second
Okay.
mentor is the person that if I have any issue, I'll call him
You
or I
run to.
run to him. So that one he's fully aware that he's my mentor.
Yes.
So I want to give a shout out to Chris Imoni.
Yes.
That's my
Okay.
mentor that I run to. And then it's funny how he's my mentor because we don't write the same language.
Wow. You
He's
don't
a
write the same
Java.
language.
We don't write the same language. He's a Java programmer. Before he
Okay.
became a Java
Wow.
programmer, he was a PHP programmer, and me, I'm a
Wow.
JavaScript programmer. So I'll just run to him to recommend courses for me, and then whenever
Yeah.
I eat some blocks, I'll go back to him. And because he
Yes.
has some experience, so he could help me and say, okay, you know what, do this, and then I'll do them, and then he also he likes teaching. He likes teaching and he's very
Okay.
good at it. So whenever he
Okay.
learns something new, he wants to teach it. And then I'm that
Teach
guy
it.
that is always available. You know what? Teach me.
So
So
it was
yeah.
easy. So yeah, and
Mm,
so from what you said now, your mentor does not really necessarily need to be with you. It can be
no.
they don't even need to
Yeah.
know that you're mentoring them in a way. Yeah, and
Yeah.
another
So
thing,
yeah.
yes,
Let me give a shout out to the second mentor who is not
okay,
aware that is my mentor. He's the one who gave me that job that I did not do very well, and then yet he paid me for my
okay,
time. His name is
yeah,
Mide Koda, so you can
okay,
just follow him on Instagram at Mide Koda. That's my
at
mentor from
midday.
afar. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll make sure I put that in like the description. Yeah. So that is amazing. Like I feel mentors have they've played a good role in your life, and they've also played a good role in my life. And I'm sure like everyone that have ever got started like in this journey must have had like someone to guide them. So shout out to every mentors that are out there. Yeah. So like noticed on your LinkedIn profile, you are now there's a button that says like book a mentorship session. So now you also are available now to so like anyone now can book a mentorship session with you and then you get to like mentor them, I guess on coding. Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
like I know I have a little bit of like the background now, but I would like you to touch on like why you did that and like yeah, let's start with like why you started that, like when did you get that confidence that yes. I know there was side hustle where you mentored me and several like I don't know if it were thousands of people then, but let me say hundreds or maybe tens of people then of interns then that you mentored that were in the front end space, and I know they were back end and yeah, but like I just want you to elaborate more. Like now, I feel you are like mentoring like a lot of people, right? So let's touch on that. Like, how did you get to this point now that you say yes, I am available for mentorship? Like, if you want a mentorship session, come to me. Yeah,
Okay. So my mentorship session, what inspired that was I would still go
okay,
back to JavaScript. Yeah, because I almost gave up programming because of JavaScript until
yeah,
the internship I enrolled for, and then I saw people in that internship that I was looking up to. And then
Okay.
they were telling me that they had to Google some things in my code before they understood what I did in my code. I'm like, you, how will you tell me you don't know this simple stuff? And then some of them were telling me that it was that they first saw variables in
Yes.
CSS from my code that they had no idea you could use like you
Yeah.
guys whining me. You guys are writing JavaScript. I'm still struggling. I don't even understand Jack in JavaScript. So how will you tell me you don't know this? So in my head, I just believed that if you can code JavaScript, then
Yeah.
CSS should be very, very easy for you. I had no
Easy.
idea that there were people that could code JavaScript and then we were finding it very difficult working with
Yeah.
CSS.
Yes. Yes.
So, and then after the internship, I was like, if these guys that I'm looking forward to can learn one or two things from my code, then that means I've really come a long way, and I don't want to give up now. And then I saw some people also that were really rooting for me and were like, you guy, you are good. And I'm like, I had no idea I was this good, and I was like, no, I don't want to fall
Yes.
there. But that feeling, aside from not wanting to fall the hand, that feeling knowing that there were people who saw me as being good with what I did, and then
Yeah.
people I was looking forward to that I had no idea they could learn from my code. I was like, okay, you know what? No, I'm not giving up now. There's still so much more that I
Yes.
can do. So, yeah, so that is. So let me just digress a little bit. So
Okay.
if I had not joined that internship, I
Yeah.
probably would have given up.
You
I
know.
probably wouldn't have known how far I'd come
Yeah.
just because I joined that internship. So while it is good for you to learn in isolation, like once in a while, or mingle with people, so because it is only when you mingle with people you truly would be able to tell where you are, if you've gone far or if you're still lacking behind. And me thinking I was lacking behind, not knowing that I was doing very well until I
Yeah.
joined the internship.
Yes, you've clarified how having like an internship or like a form of gathering of learning together can expose you to the unknown or even expose you to like how far you've gone. That is amazing. Like I know that I also, even in my journey of learning, me joining like several like internship stuff or like groups just to see what is going on also helped me to like get that confidence that I needed to say, yes, I'm actually on the right track. Yes, so we've touched on your background, we've touched on mentorship, like how you got started, right? You even touched on like how you got started writing. Yes, so I would I want to I would like to I know we've discussed this sometime. I have like an idea. I just want you to like touch on it again. Um so I'd like to ask about like your values, like currently as a software engineer, or I know you are more in the mobile engineer voice. Software engineer, all those terms are just even too much. Yes, but what are your values now? What are your belief systems? Like I remember you mentioned something about like there was this session we had. I jumped on the call with you and you mentioned you charge based on value that you provide, not based on like maybe the features of what you are working on, but the value that you are bringing. So I'd like you to touch on that. Like what are your current beliefs that you know that are helping you even progress in this journey, right? Of like tech and everything around tech, right? Even though you have a specialization. Yes. So but yeah, what are your values? What are your belief systems? Yeah. Please touch on that a little bit. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, don't know how to answer this question because it is going to get very, very long too. But
You can
uh,
shorten it. It doesn't have to be long.
okay,
So
yeah, all right. So the last question, which had to do with mentorship, were inspired. Yeah, I was going to answer that. I'm going to answer this one as well. So I started by
Okay.
answering down by saying that it was JavaScript. Yeah. So because of all the issues I had in JavaScript, I've taken different
Okay.
courses on Udemy, read different materials. It was
Okay.
at that point I realized, not at that point, I think after I figured JavaScript out, that I now realized that the issue was not with me. Because before I thought I was like, this programming thing is not for me. Let me just give up. And then after my internship, I went back, took another JavaScript course, and I understood it. I started building stuff. That was when I now realized that no, the issue is not with me. The issue was just with the materials and courses I was taking. And then
Yeah.
and there were a lot of people out there like me that are thinking of giving up programming because they think they are the ones with the issue. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to explain to them that I was once in your shoe, and then I almost gave up until I got another course. And then that was when it clicked, plus my technical writing experience also. That was when it clicked that different courses are designed for different audiences. And that you first of all
Yeah.
need to understand where you are as an
Okay.
audience. Because until you understand where you are as an audience, before you'd be able to say, oh, I want to get this course. Is this course for me at my level where I am? So I think I was taking courses that were not beginner friendly, that were probably built for people with some level of experience in JavaScript. So I wasn't really finding it that experience just was not good for me. So yeah, so that was what inspired my mentorship. I just wanted to let people know that if you get a very good course or a good materials,
Yeah.
JavaScript is not difficult. You're just finding it difficult
Yeah.
because you've not gotten the right material yet. So
Material.
now back to your question. What are my values when
Yes.
it comes to pricing?
Yes.
So over time, so I don't have a static value. It is
Okay.
flexible, but basically,
Mm.
when I'm getting on a call with a client, right now I don't do so much freelance anymore because now I
Okay.
now have a
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
time job. But when I still used to do freelance, whenever I get on a call with my clients, when a client comes to me and say I want to build a website or I want to build
Yeah.
an e-commerce website. The first question
Okay.
I ask them is, why do you, yes, I know you want to build an e-commerce website, but why do you want to build, what is your goal for wanting to build an e-commerce website? Because there are other tools where like, what are their names? I've
Shopify.
forgotten their, like Shopify that you can use. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to build your own website from scratch.
Yeah.
So even though
Even
I can
Flutterwave.
yeah, even though I can go ahead and build the website, get paid, and then it's none of my concern with that. So, but I want to understand why. So, if
Why?
I see that you don't really have any solid reason, I'll let you know that, okay, this is how much my services for cost for building you a website. But then there are other alternatives that you can use that are not as expensive as my service. You can use them and then they'll be like, okay, let me go check them. And that's when they'll now come back and say, oh, okay, I've checked these things, but I don't like them. These are my reasons. Now I have an idea of why they don't want to use them. So even if I'll be building for them, I know where they are coming from and where they are going, right? So yeah, and then I used to ask them for the clients that are not building e-commerce websites. Some client will tell you, oh, I want to build a website for my business. I'm like, okay, what is your goal? Because you cannot just tell me that you want to build the website because you want your brand to look posh and say you have a website. No, because website you be spend. Me, I used to tell my clients, you're spending money on your website. It is not you're paying the
Yeah.
person that will build it for you. After paying him, you pay for maintenance to keep your domain name and your host and all of this things. So if you're not making money off your website, I don't see any good the website is doing for your business. Do you
It's true.
get so aside from building website for my clients. I consult for them free of charge. Like whenever they come to me, like the discovery call, I just consult for them. I'm like, so and they know that okay, this guy is not just after my monies. He just wants to make sure that I'm doing
Yes.
very well with my business. Do you get? And then if I'm building a
Mm-hmm.
website for you, it doesn't just end there. I still want to come back and say, this website I've done for you, how is it helping your business? How much revenue are you getting from the website? So based on your
Yeah.
feedback, I'd know how to tweak the website to make sure you hit those goals, and then the website is able to contribute some some amounts to your total revenue. Do you get?
Yeah. I get.
So that is the reason why
Okay.
you
So
say I don't charge based on. So all of these additional things I'm doing, those are the values I'm rendering to you because I'm not just building a website for you. I'm helping you make more money.
okay, so you've touched about like the value that you offer, right? So you're not just charging for like charging sake, let's view this, but you're offering value to understand the your clients like what they need and the value that your service can add to their business. So that is a
Exactly.
good one. So yeah, so but now like someone that has started learning, right? And has gotten to a point where they feel like yes, they now know like um they know enough and they want to get started in freelancing, but then they've not had like any freelance job at all. Like, I know you've advised that we should join like groups, but let's say the person has been in isolatory, but then they want to um start like they want to jump into freelance. Like, how would you advise someone goes about that journey of freelance, right?
So first of all, I'd say you need to build your confidence first. Because it is your confidence in knowing that you can complete a task that would build your confidence when you're charging your clients.
Yeah,
Because if I remember the first, there was a project I got then. Then I wasn't so confident in myself. I got the project, I got the fund for the project. I was like, will I be able to get this thing done? Let me not mess it up. I gave it out to my mentor to do for me.
um,
So my mentor did it for me. I was like, no, I want to be able to get these things done myself. I think the
yeah,
second one too again that I got, I gave it to him again. I was like, I don't, I'm building projects. So it's a different thing when you are building practice
your own project.
projects. And then
Yeah,
when there's real projects that there's money involved, it's like,
yes,
let me not mess this thing up. Can I really do it? Now
and
it's
again,
like
I
it's like
think
you just
real
moved from a movie to real life. You get
yes,
because the other one, all the practice projects, they are your own. If you fuck up, nobody will tell you fuck up. There's no money involved. This one, there's money. If you fuck up, they can tell you to refund.
yes, and the real projects are mostly more complex than you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So yeah, so you just really need to first of all build that confidence because that confidence is what would help you whenever you're communicating with clients. And then how can you build that confidence? This by working on projects. So most sometimes you want to I learned let me just say this way. I learned by replicating websites. So
mhm,
after I was done learning HTML, CSS, I'll just go. I think I built tutorials points that their old interface. I built it
okay,
with just HTML, CSS. I built all the pages from the home page to with just HTML, CSS. I had no idea that with JavaScript you can just have one navigation, one footer, and just be injecting them in
okay,
the other pages. For me, I'll
yeah,
just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste.
no,
So if there was a mistake on the this thing, I'll correct it in the home
change
page. Now
color,
copy it again, like you get to. Yeah, so because I went through all of these things, it made me appreciate the advantage of React.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
get to sometimes learning things the old like learning things the old way would make you understand the reason why some things are done the way they are done the new
True.
way. So
Yes.
and that is why you'd see that people because now I've noticed that some people that just come into learn web development, they used to skip floats now because most of the tutorials will tell you you don't need floats. Yes, while it is true that you don't need floats, and then
Yes.
if you just jump into Flexbox, do you know why Flexbox was created? The problem Flexbox came to solve. There was a
Yeah.
problem, and Flexbox was the solution to that problem.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the float is important, but if you know float, you don't need to know it to use it in project because you're not going to use it in project. But it will help you understand the problem. And then
Yes.
when you learn Flexbox, you now say, oh, so this is the reason why Flexbox was created. And then it will help you answer questions better during interviews.
Yeah.
Now, this area I'm going to. So,
Yes.
yeah, the same thing with React. So I think there was one interview I had one time like that because there was one interview I had one time like that where they asked, what was the question they asked? I've forgotten. Okay, they asked me about hooks.
Looks okay.
Was it about hooks? I've forgotten. They asked me about hooks, and then I was like, how we? So I lectured them in my head. I just imagined that the interviewer was my intern, and then he was sincerely asking me that question. So I was answering the question like I was lecturing him. So when
Okay
he
then.
asked that question, I was like, okay, hooks. There was a problem, and React hooks was the solution to that problem. And then I went ahead to list the problem. And then before I could explain the problem, I need to give him a background of what a class component is and what a
What?
functional component used to be without the React hook.
Yeah.
And then after I explained it, I now came back to hooks. I now told him when the year hooks was created because now he now has a background, the problem that was on ground. So
Okay.
you will not believe that after I explained that stuff, he did not ask me any question again. In his head, he was just like, no, this guy knows what he's
This guy
saying.
is too good.
You get so
Yeah.
it is
So
because it is because I'm taking my time to learn it properly. That is why I can answer. It is not
yeah, me
like
too.
I just woke up one morning and then the knowledge was in my head. No, I learned it like another example I will give. Yes, another example for people that have not gotten to the React part yet in JavaScript is OOP. So in JavaScript, they used to call class synthetic sugar. There's a
Yes.
reason why that class syntax was created. And before the class syntax, there's a way we used to write OOP in JavaScript, which is very hard. The syntax is not very easy to read because you get very confused. So all those prototype inheritance, all those stuff. And then class was created because they needed people coming they needed people coming from Java or from other programming language that had OOP to be able to work
Yeah.
with OOP in JavaScript, and then they needed to build something they were already familiar with, which is class, because
Yeah.
other programming languages had class. So, but
Class.
what class is doing behind the scene is still those prototype
Yes.
inheritance. So, if you're
Yes.
coming from prototype, if you learn prototypes and prototype inheritance and all of this
Be
stuff,
easy to transition.
Exactly. It will help your transition. And even if they are asking you questions in interview, what is
Yeah,
you understand what everything is doing behind the scene because you can even write the code. Like you can actually
yeah,
build your own class from scratch.
yes,
Do you get? So yeah, I'm not saying
yeah,
that you guys should go to it now because you probably will not use it, but the advantage is
yeah,
it will help you know how to answer questions during interviews. Like there are some questions they'll just ask and I'm like, this simple thing. And then instead of you to be scared, you now start lecturing them like, okay, you know what, this
yeah,
thing, let me give you guys the background. So there's this confidence you're just going to have when answering those questions. And
yeah.
when you
That makes
speak,
sense. Yes. Okay.
so when you
Okay.
speak,
Mm-hmm.
people can actually tell if you're confident or not.
No.
So your knowledge brings out the confidence in you. Even if even if in the beginning phase of the interview you're fidgeting and then you're nervous. But if they ask you some question, you're like, this question, you're still nervous while you start answering the question. But in between, you just notice that that confidence will just come because they're asking you something you know, something you understand very well. And you probably might not even catch yourself being confident, but the interviewer would be able to tell that this guy is confident and then he understands what he's saying or what she's saying. Yeah.
Yes. That is interesting. So you have the opinion that you should, like, everyone out there currently learning, currently figuring things out, should make sure that they understand the fundamentals. Really think about the why behind like every new feature, because the JavaScript ecosystem like is always changing. There's new
Yeah, it
frameworks,
is.
new stuff. Even in JavaScript, there are new stuff. Even in CSS, there are a bunch of new things that they added recently. So, from what I can take, I can say that you have the opinion that you should know what these new solutions are solving, right? Because even the different framework in the that we have now are solving different problems, right? Right. So, yes. So, I think to summarize everything you've said, be curious about the why and like why something exists and then learn from there, right? And that would give you confidence. So
Yeah.
even when it's time for you to go into freelancing rather, you would have that confidence. Yes, I know something, I have done this, I've done this. So yeah. So thank you very much for that. Um yeah, so I'll just ask a couple of more questions. I know we've taken a lot of time now. Yes, so I'll just ask maybe two other questions and then we'll call it a day, right?
Uh,
So what are your thoughts on like AI, all the fancy stuff that we have now? We have Web3. Web3 is no longer new, but I don't know if you've jumped into that space, right? AI and all those the latest trend, right? It's mostly AI ChatGPT, those are the latest trend, and Web3. I just want to know um are you currently looking into this space? Is there anything you're doing in this space? I just want to know if yeah.
oh, yeah. So, yes, my previous company, which was also an health tech company for my new one,
Okay.
we were building a product and we had an AI integration in that product. We
Okay.
used Llama 3 for that
Mm.
particular product, which I'm not going to talk about right now on this
Okay.
call. So
Okay.
yeah, but I'm not a big fan of integrating AI into product, except if we're integrating something that is different. Because if you look
Okay.
at it, every product that has AI integrated into them,
Yeah.
don't not all of them actually need those AI features. In fact, I'm not even sure if their users are even using those AI features. They just want to feel among and like we also have AI integrated in our product. And then
Those
if you
yeah.
look at the product. The most the AI is in is what do they even used to use it to? Summary, yes. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the most popular feature of this AI. They use it to summarize text, and I want to do something much more than summarizing text with AI.
yeah,
So, and I know I cannot do what I really want to do with AI, except if I learn how to build my own model myself, which I
yeah,
don't have the time yet because according to my scale of preference or order of
yes,
priority, AI is not at the top. Like learning AI, going very deep into
yeah,
AI is not currently at the top of my
yeah.
scale
That
of
makes sense.
preference.
What about Web3? Do you have any experience with like
Oh
Web3 and
yes, I'm a very big fan. In fact, I don't know
okay,
when. Before I was planning to learn Web3 this year, like go very deep into learning how
okay,
to write smart contracts because
yeah,
I'm kind of like slowly drifting away from front end to back end, and I just want to maintain that and focus more on the back end. So, and then
yeah,
I'm this person that when if if I'm learning something, I want to go deep into that, and then if I know I don't have the time yet to go deep into that, I don't even want to start until I know that I have time to go deep into it. So yes, I think I will learn Web3 before I learn AI. So and then Web3 has been around for a very long time, even before it became very popular. So when it comes to I was saying that um, learning AI is not at the top of my priorities at the moment. And then, in
yeah,
fact, I would learn Web3 before AI. And this is just a personal thing, and that's because I'm a very huge fan of Web3. I've been a crypto fanboy since when I was in school.
okay,
So
okay,
and I like Web3 because a lot of people that I'm seeing, they just think Web3 has to do with crypto. No, Web3 doesn't have. Crypto is not the only thing you can do with Web3. You can build an e-commerce website using Web3. You can build normal website that we're doing on blockchain. You can build a lot of
okay.
things on blockchain. So web
But then what's the advantage of like let's for example an e-commerce website? What do you get out of like building the websites with Web3? Well, what's the advantage to you?
to me. Okay, let me be truthful now. So I don't want to
Yeah.
be those I'll tell you that decentralization, blah blah blah. No, me, oh, it's money, oh. This is money. Is well, even though yes, I don't know if you can tell from my response, you'd already know that I'm a very huge fan of Web3, but
Yeah.
then I think that for everybody, once you climb up the ladder in your career, at some point you start drifting away from passion. Like it's not like you drift totally. Like some point you're very passionate about something, and then you're doing that stuff. You're not interested in the money, and then when you get to a level, you're still doing the same thing. But now passion is no longer what is driving you. The money now is not what is driving you, and then
I mean you.
you climb up a little bit, and probably you've made a lot of money, and money is no longer driving you. Now you're back to passion. So you get to just goes off and on like that. So me currently, if I'm going into Web3, even though I'm passionate about it right now, it's the money. So and then
Yeah.
this is what I do before picking something to learn. I look at it that what are the opportunities in this space? Are there a lot of competition in that space? That is why I said it's the money. I'm not saying it's because I'm passionate. No, not my reason is not because I'm passionate, even though I
Yeah.
am passionate about it. My major reason is because there are a lot of opportunities there, and the competition there is not as much. as the competition in Web 2. Do you get?
Okay.
So, and
Yeah.
then you can easily find a high paying job in Web 3 than you would in Web 2
Very
because they don't
okay.
have a lot of competition. Now, this is the reason why I said it's the money. I hope I've been able to justify my response. So, yes, I don't like
Yes. Yes.
money. Mm.
You have. You have. So we've touched a lot about a lot. I've also like got to like listen to your story first and for the first time, like your background. I don't think I've we've all this while that we've known each other. I don't think I've really asked about like your background, how you got started. So that was interesting. So let me just ask this, maybe two more. There's one question. Let me just ask this first. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I noticed. I think last year or last 2 years you started this. So last year you were creating videos, right? Talking
Mhm.
about some gist about like tech and all of that. So, like, when are we going to see something like that again?
Oh, yes, yes.
Are we expecting that anytime soon?
So I don't know. I don't want to put so much pressure on myself. But
Okay,
yes, I'm going to be doing more of that this year. I'm
okay,
going to be doing a lot of recording, and then you guys
yeah,
are going to be seeing a lot of content, video content.
okay,
Yeah. Even though when I started that first, I was very, very shy. I think some people could tell from the videos I've done. Um, I
yes.
still am camera shy because those videos you guys are seeing before we get all those ones, the people recording me would have shout, "You guys, do this thing!" So
Eh,
you can like,
you
oh
even have
no,
people recording you. Ah, yeah,
yes, no. So
that's
it's
good.
not like they are also content creators like myself.
Okay,
So yeah.
yeah. So I
So
just
yes,
okay.
you guys are going to be seeing a lot of video
Okay,
content to
okay.
see. And then last year was somehow like I got really last year was the busiest I've gotten in my entire life. Was the busiest I've gotten. So you notice that even on LinkedIn self, I did not post anything. You notice
Yeah,
that if I come on LinkedIn and maybe comment once in a while or repost for somebody, but I never really
yeah.
posted anything on LinkedIn, which
I think I saw in one of your posts you said you were taking a break also.
oh yes, yes, I was, but I
Yes.
think now I have the time, so you guys will see me
Okay.
on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Okay. Okay. So that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that you would be coming back to that space, right? So this is the last question before we call it like the end of this episode 2 of the Learn With Me series. So you've given a lot of advice, right? I feel from your session you even spoke as someone that was mentoring, like as if you were even mentoring me and everyone and everyone that is watching. So now, the last question I have is, what advice, like, do you have for anyone that is joining this space of in the tech industry? Like, I know you've given a lot of advice, but like one final advice that you see that maybe there was a mistake you did and then you'd want like someone not to make that mistake, maybe an emphasis of what you've said before. But like, what advice would you give to a beginner that is just starting out right now? Like, they don't know anything at all. Like, what is that one advice you have for them?
Okay, so the number one advice I have is they are different. They are different if you're going to be learning, taking online courses. You need to understand that there are different types of courses. Like like I've explained, you need to understand um, the basics. So because these basics should help you when you're answering questions in an interview. But then you also need to understand that there are different types of courses. It is not all the course you see online that would teach you the basics so much
Yeah.
that you'll be able to answer questions very well in interview. Now, what are the different types of courses? There are two types of courses basically. One would teach you, would help you to build faster without really explaining the why, the do's and don'ts. You just said
Yeah.
that, oh, you've taken this course and then in 3 weeks you're building stuff. And then somebody else taking another course. In 3 weeks, they still cannot build.
Yeah.
But if you guys are having conversations, they can explain things. You be like, okay, okay, this guy is good. For oh yeah, come and build. They cannot build, but you can build. So yeah, so basically there are just two types of courses, and then I think there are times where you need courses that you're not really interested in learning how to explain to other people. You just want to get how to build as fast
Yeah.
as you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are times where you really want to learn the basics so that you can teach other people. Because
Yeah.
the moment you can teach other people, then you'd be able to answer questions during interview. Yeah. So if you know it enough to be able to teach other people, then I think you've known it enough to be able to answer questions in interviews. So, and I learned this while I was learning React. So I was taking a course by, I don't even know, Dev Ed. His name, he calls himself developed by Ed. I don't even know him. He's very
Okay.
popular in the tech space. He has a YouTube. I took his
Is it that
React course.
funny guy?
Yeah,
He
that
does.
plays a
He,
lot during his course.
yes, I know him. I
Yeah.
know him. I know him. Yes,
So
I.
I took his React course. If you want
Okay.
to learn how to build something with React in two
Yes.
weeks, take his course. The course will not help you to pass interview, but it will help you speed up. So I took
Yeah.
his course, and then I think 2 weeks into React, I got an interview, and then they were asking me some questions that I know I could write the code, but I could not answer those questions properly. And at the end of the interview, I was like, what is going on? I can write this code now. Why can't
Oh,
I? Why
I
can't I
speak.
explain it? So I was like, no, 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 I don't want to take this course. I'm not in a haste.
Yeah.
Because what was the point of knowing how to build, and then at the end of the day, you cannot even get past an interview? Do
Yeah.
you get? So I just had to discard that course, took another course, even though the building phase was slow, but they were teaching me all the theories I needed to understand, all the behind
Yeah.
the scenes happening behind each syntax. So I took that course, and now I now understand why some things are working the way they. And then I noticed something too. With the first course, I had an issue that was taking so much time. I had a bug that I could not figure out how to debug. Tried
Okay.
debugging it, but I could not, because I did not really understand how some of these things are working behind the
Wow.
scene. But the
Yeah.
moment I took that other course, I came back to this same project and then I could debug it. I solved the issue. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both courses have advantage and disadvantages. So, and then I think you just really need to know when you should take one and when you should take the other. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess to sum up what you said, beginners should if possible, I guess they should have someone they can look up to that they can ask for advice, because
Yeah,
you had
I would
to like
recommend
figure.
courses for them.
Yes, I would recommend courses at the level that they are at, because
Exactly.
I guess you had to figure out some of these things yourself. But now,
Yeah.
if someone you have someone you are looking up to that you could just ask, like, hey, this is where I'm at. I need to really understand. My plan is to get like a job in the next 3 months. I don't know how that is possible, but yeah. So Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Shadrach, for this session. It has been wonderful. I've got to learn from your background. I've also learned how you got started. I've also picked one or two advice that you've shared. I am truly grateful for you joining me in this series in episode 2, right? So thank you very much. And to everyone watching, I hope you've got something, you've picked one or two things, right? Especially those just starting out in their career, right? I hope you've learned one or two things. So feel free to reach out to I hope you're open to more people reaching out to you.
Yeah, they can
Okay,
reach out
okay.
to me on
Yeah.
LinkedIn or Instagram.
Okay, so if you are watching this, feel free to reach out to Shadrach. You can search for his name, Shadrach Abba or Shady Coder, or I'll leave the link in the description also. So you could reach out to him. If you need a mentor, you can reach out to him also. And I'm sure if he has time, I know even this mentorship, there's still time. Ask, yeah. So, yeah, but one advice me I would give if you are reaching out to someone, right? Some people have reached out to me. They think maybe I know something. Me, I don't know anything. That's what I'm
Stop underestimating
doing.
yourself.
Yeah, so okay, maybe I know a little, but I need to learn more, right? But if you're reaching out to someone, you should make sure that you are also doing something and that someone, because the person does not know you, can see that yes, you are doing something, right? Tell them exactly what you want. Don't just say hello and expect them to reply. Like me these days, I'll just leave you on red. Or don't send like a long message, right? About like things that start you can even start my advice. I think one thing I got right by God's grace when I started out was even in writing, I would like even in Ashnote then when I was getting started writing also, I would leave comments on people's article. So I'll read a lot of articles, leave comments. Those little interactions played a long way. Like people started knowing, okay, who is this favorites guy? And my name is kind of catchy, like favorites. Why won't you remember favorites? Yeah, aside that, but those little interactions um plays a long way, right? So that when you now ask a question, and I've seen you like in my comment section, I've seen you somewhere interacting what I'm doing, right? I would likely want to like give you feedback, right? So that is just my own take. I don't know if I know time has gone, but do you have any take or we should just conclude on
Oh, yeah. I think I've said a lot of things already.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. Um, I don't know. Sure. When I started first, I reached
Mhm.
out to a couple of people on Twitter and then got no response. And
Yeah,
even though I was already aware that I don't need to, if you send an hello, nobody's going
yeah,
to reply because you need to send an
yeah.
hello and then your reason why you're in their DM. So I reached out. I wasn't even looking for a course recommendation. I reached out to somebody in particular, which I still use to. In fact, I'm still looking forward to the day I'll see him in person. I don't hate him. I know he's probably busy. I still
Okay.
look up to him, by the way. I reached out and then, okay, he made a tweet about saying how buying a course on Udemy, and then I wanted to get a course on Udemy. I think JavaScript. It was that time I was having issues with JavaScript. I wanted to get a JavaScript course on Udemy, and then I reached out to him saying that I saw one of his tweets where he said he just got a course. I've been trying to pay with my card on Udemy, and it's not working. That I was able to get his own done. He should just put me
Oh,
through. I have my course. I'm
yeah,
not asking for course recommendation. Just this issue that I'm facing. This guy did
yes,
not answer me on that. Is this how the tech space is? Just help your guy now. Like I want to buy.
yes,
I'm not saying you should give me money. I want to pay
yes,
by myself. Just that my card, I had no idea at the time that there was something called virtual dollar cards because I'd not used
Yeah,
any one of them at that time. So yeah, so you probably are going to reach out to a couple of people or a few or maybe more people and not going to get any response from them. So but that should not make you give up and say because these people did not, I should stop. Even as I am right now, I still used to message people that they will not reply me. And it's not like they don't know me. They know me or me too. I know them. In fact, we've interacted. I will not
yes,
call his name. He did not answer me, but I know that we'll meet in person. We'll talk. Do you get?
yes.
So yeah, so it
I
can
get.
be like that. So
Yeah,
I think that experience was what made me say that, you know what, when I get to the point where when I grow enough to
yeah,
the point where people start seeing me that okay, you know what, I think I can learn from you. And I'm not saying that you should come to my DM and say from my mentor. I'm not saying anyway you can come, but that's not what I'm saying anyway. So I
yeah,
just said that, you know, I even no matter how big I am in the tech space or how much I've grown in the tech space, regardless of my growth, even if I grow to become the number one, if people come into my DM, I always make sure
yes,
that I would respond because I felt really, really bad. I was like, I'm not begging for money. I'm not begging. I just have this issue with my card. Just tell me, are there
yeah,
alternative ways to pay for this stuff? Let me get it done. You don't even have to show me. If there's an article, just send me the link to the article. Let me go
yes,
and read it and get it. It did not
yeah.
answer me. I felt
So,
really,
like,
really bad.
I think that is a, I think that is like a bad example. Like, it's a good example, but like, it's a bad example in the case of people not answering you when you really need help, right? I see, like, your point is genuine. Like, the question you brought out was like, is something genuine. I feel it should have, the person then should have answered you. But then there are ways that people send messages, so like, you just be
Yeah,
like, I ca- or, and there are times maybe that is not the right time for, like, or maybe you're not in the right mood to like see the message, and maybe you forget to reply. Maybe you saw it but you forgot to reply. So there are several scenarios, but at the end of the day, do not get discouraged. Keep pushing, and you can
hmm,
ask several people too. So one person shall would answer you. Yes. So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you very much, Shadrach. It has been a wonderful session with you. And thank you also everyone for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. So do make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.